There's been a fair bit going on at Rangers over the past few weeks, but one tale in particular has been rolling along under the radar. While everyone's been fixated on signings and rejigs to the squad, there's been another story. Quieter, but just as crucial, developing away from the public eye. The club looks set to finalize a deal that'll bring in a substantial sum, and that could make a proper difference to their summer budget. It's been edging toward the finishing line, and sources suggest the negotiations are now in an advanced stage. Plenty of clubs across the continent have had their beady eyes on what's unfolding, but publicly it's stayed low-key. Behind the scenes, though, things have been progressing steadily, and it appears Rangers are poised to bank a significant fee, one that could influence their business decisions for the rest of the transfer window. So what exactly has kicked this off? Which player is set to fetch that hefty payday for the club? Well, today we'll break it all down for ye along with a roundup of the latest Rangers news from the last 24 hours. It's been a busy spell with loads to chat about, so if you're enjoying this content, be sure to tap the like button and subscribe for more daily Rangers updates. First up, let's focus on that big move. Turkish giants Başakşehir have reportedly tabled a solid offer for one of Rangers' midfield stars. While the move hasn't made the splash you might expect, the interest looks serious, and news suggests that this is the transfer that could deliver the windfall we've been talking about. We'll walk through the details of that in just a moment. Meanwhile, within the squad, there's also been chatter about the manager looking to reinforce the defense, particularly with a center back on Moyes' radar. Those discussions appear to have moved forward behind closed doors too, and are inching closer to fruition, which could be another key addition before the Champions League qualifiers arrive. So yes, there's certainly plenty going on. Heading back to that midfield exit, the player in question has been with Rangers since January last year, when he joined initially on loan before the switch was made permanent. He starred throughout the season, contributing a handful of goals and showcasing a tireless work rate that so endears him to the Gers faithful. Now, with a contract running well into the play stretching out till 2028, he's the kind of asset clubs track closely. The offer reportedly sits somewhere between £8 and £10 million, which would represent a significant return on an investment Rangers made 6 months ago, when they triggered the obligation to buy clause for around £4 million. If this deal goes through at the upper end, it'll leave Rangers with a real profit, one that can be plowed right back into strengthening the squad in areas that former Scotland captain Russell Martin has already identified as needing bolstered. Martin's brought in a couple of players so far, but it's clear he's got more irons in the fire, particularly with that crunch second-round Champions League qualifier against Panathinaikos looming just over 3 weeks away. That's a mega fixture to prepare for, so the timing of this sale is absolutely critical. While this transfer has flown under the radar and mainstream media, insiders suggest the Turkish giants have been quietly persistent in their approach, preparing an offer that Rangers found difficult to ignore. It shows a clever piece of business from both the selling club and the buying side, Rangers cashing in at the right moment, while Başakşehir look to harness some of the player's prime years before his prime begins to wane. That brings us neatly onto the question: how does this deal fit into Rangers' wider transfer strategy? Well, once that fee lands in the coffers, the club can look to close the gaps in the defense, and perhaps even chase a clinical striker, potentially another target for Martin and his scouting team before the Euros qualifiers ramp up. That's the beauty of having that liquidity mid-window. It allows you to pivot quickly, address weaknesses, and enter big games with greater confidence. Another layer to this is the potential domino effect across the squad, with one key midfielder likely departing, that opens space and responsibility for others to step up, maybe some of the younger talent coming through the ranks. That injects a freshness into the team dynamic, as well as freeing up breathing room for additional signings. It's all about balance, and this sale could form the fulcrum of that equilibrium. As we continue toward the Champions League challenge, the timing couldn't be more vital. Sold off too early, and you risk leaving gaps in the squad. Wait too long, though, and you miss the chance to reinvest wisely. Rangers appear to be threading that needle, making the move discreetly, finalizing it promptly, and leaving space for meaningful reinforcements before the qualifiers kick off in earnest. Stick with us, because after this segment we'll shift our attention to that central defender target, where talks are reportedly at an advanced stage, and the broader context of what that means for the squad depth. But for now, let's marinate on the fact that Rangers are on the cusp of bagging a sizable fee, one that could well power their summer revolution. Now then, while that midfield transfer has been bubbling away quietly, there's been plenty more movement to keep an eye on. Over in the forward line, there's another bit of business close to the finish line, and it might just end up being the biggest sale of Rangers' window. Moroccan striker Hamza Igamain, one of last season's standout performers, is on the verge of sealing a high-profile switch to League One side Lille. Reports from Morocco suggest the two clubs have come to a full agreement, and all that's left now are the medical checks and final paperwork. That official announcement could drop any moment. Let's be honest, this move didn't come out of nowhere. Lille have had their eye on Igamain for months. His tally of 16 goals across all competitions, including for in Europe, and a match-winning strike at Celtic Park that cemented his cult hero status, made him a prime target. The French side weren't alone either. Clubs across Europe, including Marseille and even Everton, were circling, but it's Lille who stepped up when it mattered, pushing hard last week and getting the deal done. If the numbers being floated are accurate, the transfer fee's expected to sit around £15 million. Now here's where it gets a wee bit complicated. Thanks to a sell-on clause from his former club FAR Rabat, nearly 30% of the profit will be heading back to Morocco. That means Rangers might part with up to £4.5 million from the overall sum. Still, clearing over £10 million for a player who costs significantly less is nothing to scoff at. That's a massive return for a club looking to rebuild. What's especially tough about Igamain's departure is the timing. He's been more than just a goal scorer, he's become a symbol of the attack. Under pressure, when the team needed someone to dig them out of a hole, more often than not he delivered. His flair, composure, and instinct in front of goal turned heads not just from fans, but from scouts across the continent. You could say his performance against Nantes in November, when he netted a brace in that dominant 4-1 victory, was the moment Lille decided he had to be theirs. And now, assuming all goes to plan with the medical and the terms, Rangers will lose a key piece of their front line. But at the same time, that cash injection adds another huge chunk to the transfer budget. It gives the manager options, the freedom to pursue a like-for-like replacement or bolster different areas altogether. Maybe even both, depending on how the market pans out over the next few weeks. But it's not all exits and farewells. While Igamain packs his bags, another long-running saga appears to be winding down the future of striker Cyril Dessers. For weeks, Greek side AEK Athens were pushing hard to land him. Negotiations were serious, with reports of a £5 million deal close to being struck. Their sporting director even met with the players' camp, signaling intent, but now things have cooled considerably. It seems disagreements over financial terms and the players' role in the squad have slowed talks down. AEK's head coach came out with a pointed statement, saying they're not prioritizing a striker at the moment, and instead are looking to strengthen at full-back. That's left Dessers' future hanging in the balance again. For now, Rangers are standing firm. They're not keen to let go of their top scorer without what they consider fair compensation. Dessers might not be everyone's cup of tea. He splits opinion amongst the fan base, no doubt. But numbers don't lie. 18 league goals last season, a reliable presence up top, and crucially one who stays fit in a market where goal scorers cost a fortune. Holding on to him could be a smarter move than trying to replace him hastily. Feyenoord, his old club, are said to be sniffing around again, so there could yet be another twist before the window shuts. And as we mentioned earlier, there's still the Connor Cody situation developing in the background. Rangers have been in talks with Leicester City over the experienced centre-back, and it's believed negotiations have reached an advanced stage. Cody, who has 10 caps for England and a solid Premier League pedigree, is keen on the move north, though he returned to Leicester for pre-season, having just wrapped up punditry duties in the US. His future there looks uncertain. With just 12 months left on his deal, Leicester may look to cash in now, rather than risk losing him for nothing next year. Rangers know that with European qualifiers looming, adding experience at the back is non-negotiable. Cody could bring leadership, structure, and a vocal presence to a defense that's lacked a real organizer at times. He's not the flashiest name on the market, but he fits the profile: dependable, seasoned, and available at the right price. So, between the near-complete sales of Igamain and Dio-Man, the cooling interest in Dessers, and the defensive reinforcements being lined up, this window is shaping up to be one of the most transformative in recent Rangers history. The club are clearly moving with intention, selling smart, buying deliberately, and not rushing into panic buys. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. There's a fresh whisper on the wind around Govan, and it's one that's sure to stir the passions of the Ibrox faithful. Word has it that Kenny McLean, the experienced midfielder who's made a name for himself south of the border, could be set for a sensational return to Scottish football, with Rangers emerging as his next possible destination. While there's been no official confirmation, and neither club has made a statement, sources close to the situation suggest that discussions have taken place, and the notion of McLean pulling on the famous blue jersey again is gathering real traction. The Scotland international, currently plying his trade with Norwich City, has long been admired by those within the Rangers setup, and with his contract reportedly nearing its end, the timing could be just right. MCLEAN, a boyhood Rangers fan, and no stranger to the pressures and expectations that come with representing one half of the old firm, has never hidden his affection for the club. That emotional connection, coupled with his consistent performances in the Championship and experience at the international level, make him an appealing prospect for the Gers as they look to bolster their midfield ahead of another grueling domestic and European campaign. It's understood that Rangers boss Philippe Clement is keen on bringing in players who not only possess technical quality but also a deep understanding of what it means to play for Rangers. McLean fits that mold perfectly. His composure on the ball, leadership qualities, and versatility in midfield could prove vital as Rangers aim to reclaim dominance from their city rivals across the Clyde. Of course, there's still a long road from rumor to reality. Norwich may yet table an offer to keep the midfielder at Carrow Road, and other clubs, both in England and abroad, are believed to be monitoring the situation closely. But if McLean's heart is set on returning home and helping lead Rangers to silverware, this could be one of the summer's most compelling storylines. For now, it remains just that, a story. But as with all things in Scottish football, there's often a wee bit of fire behind the smoke. Greetings, fans! Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC, and don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.